So the Green New Deal's only objective is to eliminate cows and build railways to Europe. That's something I heard from someone that I actually think to be a smart person, and that is essentially the messaging apparatus at work of the Republican Party. So how did those kinds of sound bites make their way to your ears? Well, here with us right now is Parker Malloy, the editor-at-large from Media Matters for America. Parker, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
So basically you did a piece recently outlining the ways in which the Republican messaging apparatus works, and you say that it is untethered to reality. Could you explain what you mean by that?
Sure. So what happened here was I was watching Hannity, as one does, and just for nice leisure time. And I heard him just last week or the week before say something about Green New Deal. It's going to abolish airplanes and cows and the combustion engine. And I heard all of that and I thought that sounded familiar. And then I went back and did a search to see how he's framed this in the past. And it turns out that he's used almost that exact same framing something like 80 times now. So I put together a little compilation and I decided to write something about this. But basically what'll happen is you'll when the Green New Deal first came out, there was that FAQ document that was put out that made a joke about how they won't be able to get rid of cows and airplanes that fast within 10 years. And conservatives kind of just ran with it. And that has stuck for months now. That came out in February and it's almost August. So I was trying to figure out why they repeat this debunked talking point, because it was that same day that people said, no, this isn't in the resolution. However, people have kept saying it. And then in doing some research on this, I found that Fox viewers were the most informed, or self-identified as informed on this in this survey that I saw, and also believed all sorts of horrible things about what the Green New Deal was. Now, it should be clear that the Green New Deal, it's a non-binding resolution. If it passed Congress right now, and even if that happened, it would not really commit the U.S. to doing anything. It would just kind of be a show of good faith. However, the way that you hear this talked about on Fox News is that it's going to destroy the economy, that is going to result in you no longer being able to eat meat or fly planes. You'll have to take a train to Europe. It's all sorts of ridiculous stuff, but it works. This tactic of telling people that all these things that are not in the Green New Deal are in there has been actually very effective. Fox viewers they view the Green New Deal the most negatively of any demographic, even more than Republicans as a whole, and that's kind of startling. It's something like 93% of Fox viewers view the Green New Deal as extremely negative, which was kind of shocking. So what I did in this piece was I went and I looked back at other examples throughout time where this same sort of approach has been used. And one of the previous examples that I used is the lie about death panels, which obviously was not true, but that was repeated nonstop on Fox.
People are still saying that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. The law has been in effect for something like 8 years, and you still have people who think that the law has death panels. So in their minds, for 8 years there have been old people like getting put in front of these panels and just sent to death, and everyone else is cool with it. That's something they think is happening, but it's something like 40% or 30% of Americans believe this, which is startling because it was obviously false and it was debunked very, very quickly, but it stuck. And I saw another example of that was looking around that same time at the effort to shut down Acorn. And it was that same sort of tactic where these debunked narratives would get repeated over and over until they just destroyed the whole organization.
Sorry, Parker.
Go ahead.
Oh, so why does this work so well? Why? When the information,
Sure.
the facts are available, why does this work so well?
Well, one of the reasons I think this works as well as it does, and this was supported by some of the evidence that I cite in the piece, is that one thing that right-wing media does is they give more coverage to these issues than mainstream outlets or progressive media. You will see the Green New Deal, something like in the first 4 days, there were 32 or 33 segments on Fox News, whereas there were 11 on CNN and MSNBC combined. So you have the people who are hopefully putting things out there in a factual way on CNN, MSNBC, other mainstream outlets. And then you have Fox, who is almost exclusively putting this out there in terms of propaganda.
So the
lies? Yeah.
So does it end up? Is there a way to counteract it? Because you do see people like us and people like CNN a lot of the time going out there and saying this is false. And if people are just going back to Fox News, is there a way that you think other politicians can message or media organizations can package facts to kind of break through that bubble?
Sure. I think one of the things that politicians can do quickly in these situations is to not let rumors float out there. I think that the longer that rumors float, the more likely they are to take. And I think that may not have been true 15, 20 years ago, but it certainly is now. Now you can have a rumor on the internet that's there. If it hangs out there for a day or two, you'll have some people turning it all the way into, so I heard that the Green New Deal, something about comet ping pong, it suddenly just turns into like a giant conspiracy theory if you don't debunk it. So I think that that's important. I think that putting out accurate information and saying this is a lie straight away. And I understand the reluctance to do that because there are certain things that really shouldn't have to be dignified with an answer or a response, and like this. But we live in a world where people are very skeptical of the media as a whole. And I think if something isn't put out there in clear, plain terms, that they're not going to get it. And the Green New Deal was it's a 14-page resolution, and yet you see it. People just clearly haven't read it, and it's short.
Yeah, and I highly recommend that everybody goes and reads the Green New Deal in its entirety, and also Parker's piece, "Lies, Damn Lies in Media: Right-Wing Repetition of Debunked Narratives Reshapes Reality." So thank you so much, Parker, for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Here on The Damage Report, we talk a lot about the big banks and their ways of getting rich off the poor. They saturate the market, but there are other options. And I've got info on a socially and environmentally responsible financial institution that has no ATM fees, gives you cash back on every purchase. They even commit 10% of their earnings to charity. It's called Aspiration, and if you go to aspiration.com/TYT to sign up, you'll get these perks, and that's more money to spend or to save or to spend. Just treat yourself.